Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? So today is now April the 18th. It is about 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're going to take a look at Ethereum because it's been a very long time since we've actually touched up on Ethereum. Now, I still believe that Ethereum will be incredibly bullish in the long term, but you know what? Long term to some people is simply just too long. So let's take a look at the coin market cap first of all to see how it has been trending overall. So what we see for Ethereum is it will always be a hard second. It's very difficult for us to see Ripple overtaking Ethereum anytime soon, unless Ripple ends up, doubling somehow in market cap in general, and Ethereum doesn't really go anywhere at all. So we see Ethereum trending at a hard number two position, where it's about 4% up for the 24-hour volume change there. We see a lot of coins right now, guys, that are up a substantial amount over the past 24 hours. But what we can generally agree on is simply that it's all green across the board, guys. There's not really many coins except for Verge for obvious reason. Their partnership with Pornhub, that didn't really go so well, guys. What I've found out about the Verge community in general is that any type of negativity towards their currency, and they send a mob after you. Really, it's like I've been threatened before for saying that Verge was going to correct. So I'm not really a big fan of that coin. And you know what? I sold my holdings for Verge. I made my whatever good amount of profit there. It's not a coin that I'm even going to touch within a 10-foot pole for personal reasons, and it's mainly because I don't like the people in the community. They're very hostile. They don't like any type of negativity. You mentioned the word correction just slightly, and they literally send a mob after you. So I don't really care about them. You guys could do whatever you please. Honestly, they deserve to be in the red. You take a look at this whole board right now in the top 40, and what you see is green all across the board. It was honestly one of the crappiest partnerships that you actually could have announced, Justin. Okay, Justin was saying things such as, hey, we are actually going to change the face of crypto, and this will be one of the biggest announcements on top of the biggest announcements ever made. And when you announce something like we're partnering up with Pornhub, public doesn't really take that well at all. Let's compare that to the time when Ripple actually announced their partnership with Apple, for example. Okay, Bitcoin was correcting incredibly heavy. Bitcoin started correcting after December 17. Ripple got its announcement maybe late or early December or middle of December about, late December, and Ripple ended up soaring to crazy new highs because of what a positive announcement can actually do. When you announce a positive partnership that investors and retail institutions can actually take a look at and they like, well, investors didn't really like the fact that Verge is partnering up with Pornhub, and it reflected incredibly heavy. Okay, take a look at every single coin right now, guys. Every single coin is literally green across the board. That shows a very big upward momentum. Okay, huge upwards momentum, right? And then what we see is we literally see Verge just tank to the ground. So do I have a problem with saying that Verge is literally one of the crappiest altcoins in this particular week right now? No, I've got no problem saying that whatsoever because the sentiment in the Verge community and market amongst investors and amongst institutions and retail investors, it speaks for itself very loudly in the chart here, right? There's no other way to say it. That Verge is literally biting the dust right now. Not really a good place to be, considering Justin is, it's making an announcement on top of an announcement and saying it's going to be one of the biggest news in cryptocurrency history. It's going to change the face of cryptocurrency history. Yeah, not really going to happen too much there. Okay. Now I understand that it's a stepping stone, right? It's a stepping stone towards new partnerships and actually reaching a very different demographic, and it lets them penetrate the mass markets as well into mainstream. But let's face it, guys, when you're marketing yourself in the kind of way and being very conspicuous about how it's going to change the face of crypto and it's going to be one of the biggest news, and then you drop that bomb of partnering with Pornhub, yeah, you can kind of see how that goes. It was evident as well how the sentiment was based on as soon as it was announced, it literally dropped like I think 20%. Like that was such a big drop. Anyways, let's get into Ethereum. Enough bashing Verge here for a moment, all right? I'm probably going to get like a death threat for saying that about Verge. Really, that's usually what people do with Verge. They are they're so loyal towards Verge. It's like everybody that holds Verge right now, they think they're going to buy like a Lambo by the end of 2019 or something. And yeah, I get that privacy coins are hot right now, but you know what? There's many other out there right now. So it's definitely not among one of my coins that I'll be investing long term in anymore. So if we take a look at Ethereum right now, we're actually gaining some ground. We take a look at that April 12 volume. It was actually also one of the historically highest volumes as well, I think, in the past this year. Let's definitely take a look at that. We see that $2.5 billion there. Yeah, even around it. No, I'm completely wrong. It was Bitcoin's highest historical 1 hour volume. But you know what? It might have been as well the highest historical 1 hour volume for Ethereum because it kind of goes hand to hand with Bitcoin, right? They are usually in tandem with each other. So what we see on April 12, which was when Bitcoin ended up soaring from $6,500 to about $8,000 ranges there, we see Ethereum at a hard $2.5 billion. And then we slowly started to trend downwards, right, with a steady climb, but in terms of 24-hour volume, it actually started to downtrend over here. Now today we see it at $1.8 billion in the market right now. So this is the count, right? This is the I think I've counted it many times already, and we're just gonna keep it very simple and just simply just call this an ABC correction down to over here like that, okay? A very simple correction, or actually that's not ABC. They would have been something like this, more like it right there, okay? Something like that right there. And this would have been a simple X going upwards like that. And then we ended up getting another sort of ABC correction down over here, where this actually ended up marking the new phase of a WXY correction. But all in all, the way that we look at this right here is very simple. We see this as a W, X, and a Y. For the people that are unfamiliar with how a WXY works, let me give you guys a little bit of insight right now. So we get 5 waves going up like that, and then we get ABC correction coming down. We get an impulse wave attempt upwards. Simple as that right there. And then because it fails and it doesn't actually make a full impulse attempt upwards, right? We have, I'm just being hyperbolic here, so don't mind how it's extended that much. We end up getting a double correction to make an ABC, simple like that. I know to me it seems so simple, but the people that are unfamiliar with Elliott waves, they're probably like, what the heck is going on, right? That doesn't even make sense. So I see 5 waves coming down over here, guys. Like I see honestly 5 waves coming down here for the correction. And that's probably the easiest way to see it, right? I see the final C leg coming down or the final last sub wave as something simple, just like that, okay? 5 waves going down like that, which ends up marking the double bottom with a truncated 5th wave right there. So I do believe that it was the bottom, guys. Like I firmly believe that, like $365 was a hard bottom. And we have to understand why Ethereum actually bit the dust as well. All coins that will hold ICOs, like that, like Neo, for example, as well, right? When Charlie tweeted about it, where it's having its gas issue as well, and like a node just fell up, like a node wasn't working as well, and people were invalidating their wallets very differently depending on where you were, and so coins like Neo, coins like EOS, right? EOS actually took a really big hit as well because people were selling their tokens, right? People were selling their tokens to fund the project since they were getting a lot of flack from regulation. And because it's the year for regulating ICOs and making sure that they're going to prevent fraudulent activity, of course, coins like Neo, Ethereum, EOS, etc., they're going to end up getting a little bit of flack for it, right? So it wasn't really too surprising to see it fall all the way back to these levels. It was actually kind of scary when you think about it, okay? Like, this is, if you guys remember my call there, where I was like, buy at the $315 mark right there, right? That was really scary when we see Ethereum fall all the way down back to these levels, like, in September. Like, I don't know about you guys, but it really did discourage me from wanting to buy it here, you know? That's the time when I was kind of telling everybody, like I was kind of making a triangle like that, right? Um, where I took some of this as a bull trap region right over here. I think I might have even gone higher, like around something like that, right? Where I said to people, well, if you guys buy it above the $30 breakout right here, that's where it was going to be the most profitable. And I was projecting a massive projection of something like $700-800 there, which ended up hitting one of our targets up there. But what I'm getting to is it was pretty scary to see it come all the way back down to these levels, wasn't it? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that was really, really scary. It was like, whoa, these highs have been established, you know? Like, are we gonna actually fall back to the original levels, like around the $100 ranges right here? Yeah, it was kind of scary around that time right there. That's when I bought my Ethereum, guys. That's how I started to get like really bigger into crypto. I bought my Ethereum around $10, right, in 2017, well before March. And I sold mine in about June. It was a really good month. And I always think back to that time, you know, it was my first big trade. And yeah, I bought Ethereum for $10 and I sold it for $350. And that's the moment it changed my life. Walked to my job that day and I said to them, fuck you guys, I'm quitting. And that's kind of how I got started in, like got really more interested into crypto, right? Yeah, hated my job. So I'm always nostalgic whenever I talk about Ethereum, if you guys can tell, right? So let's talk about this Elliott wave count that we're seeing in here right now, okay? So we easily see the 5 wave count that I saw in there earlier. But what's more important is this particular count in here, all right, guys? This is a very important count in my personal opinion. And I see this right here as waves 1. I see this as waves 2, okay? I see this as waves 3, and I'm looking for a wave 5. I'm searching for a wave 5. Now, there will be 2 possible cases that we're going to see. So this is going to be the case A right here. And now we have to annotate this properly so you guys can also understand the terminologies and my logic behind why I'm talking about this particular setup right here. Not setup, but I guess why I'm talking about this particular region as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I actually counted this right here, okay, I would actually be counting this like that as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we can actually break it down by many, many, many different time frames. So if I were to count it like this right here, I see Ethereum as 1, 2, okay, 3, 4, and there's a 5th wave somewhere up there. Now, where is the 5th wave going to go? We don't know. But more importantly, we have to make sure that we validate this count as well. And the way that I'm validating this count is simple. I see my 3rd impulse wave up there as fairly easy to count. See this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and I see this as my 5 right here, okay? And I'll actually change the degree of it just to make a little bit more sense. And I'll show my waves in here as well, okay? That's how I'm basically counting it, right? I see my 5 subwaves where it subdivides perfectly into here right now. Make sense, guys? So that is how I'm confirming what my main count over here, and I've got no other choice but to see it this way, where I see 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's a 5th wave somewhere that we don't know about, right? That I see my subwaves right here as a major pump up from $415 to $480. That was a really nice ride. I didn't catch any of it though. I don't really day trade Ethereum. It's going to be more so my longer term hold, right? So this is one possible scenario. Okay, I'm going to give you guys all the different scenarios where we see this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the wave 3 actually subdivides into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as well. And all the other waves, they subdivide into 5 waves, which is great. So what we're looking for is this is going to be case, pretty much case, we can say case A, all right? We're going to actually break this down right here, okay? We're going to call this Elliott wave main count. Elliott wave main count. Main count, okay? Where we're going to take into the fact that, you know, we're still looking for some sort of ABC right now, okay? where we're looking for perhaps some sort of B, right? And now we're looking for a C wave that could literally touch, I would probably say, the 200 EMA. And I'm just going to go based on some extrapolation, just guessing that this could perhaps right here, um, you know, go towards like a one-to-one extension roughly. And this could easily hit something like, um, something like the 200 moving average, right? So this could probably target something like that, in my opinion, right around this particular region right here. Okay, I'll let you guys draw this on your map and come up with the price, but it's usually about 490, 494. That's kind of one of the regions where I'm hoping for it to retrace to, therefore I can go long on it. And if that actually happened, we would get actually a very bullish type of retracement, right? Which is kind of not too likely in my opinion. So I'm kind of confused right now um with how likely this is to happen, because if this were to actually happen where like we have A, B, and C, where this is a crappy B count. We're just gonna put it that way, right? This is a crappy B count because it is so bullish. And if we actually target a one-to-one extension, what we're simply seeing is that it doesn't even hit the 382. And this only happens to the 236 region 5% of the time, and it happens to the 382 region right here only 12% of the time. So this is one of the main counts that I have right now, where I see this as 1, 2. So this is subdivided into 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? And then we get an ABC coming down to possibly over here, right? Who knows? Maybe it's actually ended already. That's why I'm kind of confused with Ethereum right now, right? So this is one possibility where this could simply come down to over here. And you guys need to remember as well that this is a game of probability, right? A lot of people always say things such as they're very naive and amateurish type of comments where they'll say things such as yeah, it seems like you just account for every possibility. Of course you're going to be right if you look at every scenario. Well, that's what a trader does, guys. We try to accommodate for unforeseen circumstances, so when they actually happen there are actually no surprises at all. And it also allows us to weigh the probability of something happening versus something not happening. So it's very important to distinguish between trying to look for every single possible count, right? And making sure that we understand that these counts that they happen because we're trying to basically break a specific level right now, right? So what we see very clearly, guys, is this right here. If I were to just move some of this down where you guys can see it, what you guys should be able to see fairly clearly is that like this is a resistance point right here, right? This is a major resistance point right there where we're trying to break it, but we simply just cannot right now. So is this actually, one, two, three, four, and five like that, where this makes the third count right there? And is this actually making like an ABC type of pattern right here, where this is perhaps I don't know, this is probably B, C, D, and E, where it's going to make an ascending type of triangle? Is that possible? Where it's going to make an ascending type of triangle and we actually ended up correcting right here instead, right? I'm not going to really call this like my main counts. I'm not going to really be posting too many charts on here because I'm just yeah, it's a coin that I'm not really too interested in right now, not until a little bit later, because there's a lot more other altcoins out there that have a lot more potential. So I'm just going to basically play out the games of possibilities for you, right? So one possibility is that we end up correcting down to over here. We take our fib ratio of, I'm going to actually do it again here and get a little bit more accurate here. So I end up taking my fib retracement right here. Oh, I already did it, never mind. So it could retrace to somewhere near the 200 moving average. That's one possibility, in my opinion, right? If that's not a possibility before we end up finishing the fifth wave. So just to be very clear as well, we're just going to backtrack and say that because this particular wave right here actually hit slightly higher, right, as we can see, than 261.8. Well, if this were an actual case, this one's got a chance to hit roughly, around the 600 in the middle of the range there as well. If this one hit roughly in the middle between 161.8 and 261.8, then this one's also got a chance to hit between 261.8 and 361.8, just generally speaking, right? So 600 seems to be a very, very viable target right now as well, okay? So that's one way to look at it. Now, let's say we take a look at it from another perspective on a higher time frame. Let's say that these waves were not subdivisible, okay? And let's just say that somehow we ended up getting very different counts in here, right? Very different counts in here. And if we actually ended up calling this right here, actually wave 3 and 4 and 5 finished already right here, well, then if this were the actual case, then we would be expecting some sort of major correction where I don't really see this as a likely case because, well, if this was an ABC, this would be kind of incredibly bullish right now, however you want to see that, right? Like, is that going to be an ABC down to over here? Are we actually going to take the entire structure like that? Like, are we going to get a retracement way down over here instead? Even though Bitcoin is going to be very bullish, in my opinion, right? So I'm kind of 50-50 right now on what the actual count is for Elliott wave, and that's going to take a little bit of time to decipher, and there's going to be many different alternate counts. So aside from the alternate counts right now, I just want to give you guys kind of an idea of where I stand with some of the counts right here. We got to take a look at some major resistances, right? We go to daily chart, guys, and what we see is let me just get this on auto scale right here. Actually, on a 4-hour chart might be a little bit better. What we see is this is a clear resistance area right around the 400, or sorry, the $537 range, right? 530 to 540 range. That's actually a really hard resistance. It probably extends, yeah, it does extend fairly far back. Like, this is a fairly large area in terms of price activity where it was wavering up and down, and the price action there, it dictates that there's most likely going to be a heavy resistance around the $531 range and up, right? So, a lot of people will argue with me and they'll actually say that this is the Elliott wave count right here, right? This is the Elliott wave count right there. Um, right? And they're going to say, oh, yeah, we expect some sort of correction down to this particular level over here, right? Something like down over here. But you guys also have to keep in mind that 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 it's really difficult to subdivide all of this, right? And it actually makes more sense to subdivide this as, waves 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, like that, right? And this actually ends up making, like I drew earlier, like 1, 2, 3. Oh, sorry, I just got to turn off my phone here. Actually, no, I don't. I got to turn it on, not off. Okay, there we go. So anyways, yeah, this makes more sense for it to call like that, and then we get another wave up to possibly the 600 range. So you know what? If we actually end up breaking this high right here, I'm fairly confident to say that if we break $537 range, we can most likely end up targeting about the $600 range right there. So I'm just going to put this up for you guys to show one more time, right? If this ended up hitting right here around the 161.8 region in the middle of these two regions, then the next one, pretty good chance to hit 600 range if we break that, right? But it's going to take quite a bit of convincing. I think $537 is going to take a lot of work for it to break with a lot of conviction there. So that's my main count, right? We take a look at the RSI in general, and we're seeing RSI kind of probably going to reach a resistance soon, right? Actually, it actually broke through it. If we take a look at a sloped one right here, right? And it definitely ended up rounding upwards. So Ethereum's definitely got a lot of momentum, in my opinion. This on the 4-hour chart as well. It ended up just didn't even break below the 50 RSI right there. And according to Constance Brown's RSI rule, we're in a fairly bullish zone right now for Ethereum, especially if you guys take a look on the 4-hour chart there. Last time we actually reached any type of RSI like that on that particular range was all the way and around January 7 there, which was pretty high RSI. Like January 7 was around here. That's when the RSI just massively peaked right after we got to that major downtrend from 900 and it shot back up to like 1260 over there. So Ethereum is definitely a fairly bullish coin right now, but it's a very confusing coin as well because of the Elliott wave counts, in my opinion. So where are we going to find possible supports or resistance? Well, major resistance area, in my opinion, is going to be right around 600. Okay, I unfortunately have to even lower than that. Actually, I'm gonna lower my target now that I see these particular regions, to around almost 575. Like it's going to be very difficult for us to break through there. We got to break the 537 range with a lot of conviction. And then we eventually will shoot to 550, 575, where we'll meet a lot of resistance. So there's still a lot of ways to go. And I'll be sure to update you guys later down the road when I get a much better Elliott wave count. I just want to give you guys kind of a quick rundown and a quick update of where we currently stand with Ethereum right now. And as it stands, there's a major resistance right at $537. If we break it, there's a chance to hit between 550 and 575, I'm guessing. Take the $600 target off the table for now. Now, if we end up correcting downwards, this is what I'm hoping for, to be quite honest, okay? I'm hoping for a correction between here. Like honestly, I'm hoping for a correction to just gonna get some fib levels out. It would be awesome if we can get it to a very reasonable fib level, anywhere between the 0.5 to even the golden ratio zone. But that's not likely. Though we have to keep in mind that if Bitcoin does correct, guys, to the 74 to 7600 range, most likely we'll end up seeing a correction target for Ethereum between 462 and 480, which is much more realistic, right? Than saying it's going to go to 444. I mean, 444 is a pretty big drop, and I can't really see it doing that whatsoever. So anyways, I just wanted to give you guys my quick rundown of Ethereum, and how I personally plan to play it is I'm hoping for it to break below to around the 480 region. That's where I would like to start accumulating. But if it breaks above the $537 range, I'm definitely going to be interested in going long to between 550 to 575 for a very short term play there. And until further notice, I'll give you guys a more detailed Elliott wave count, perhaps in the few days or a week to come. This way we can all be on the same page. But like every other coin, I firmly believe that Ethereum is going to be is at a very pivotal moment this particular week. It's got to make some sort of major play, just like how Bitcoin needs to break 8450 range to be very, very bullish, or it needs to hold at simply the 8,000 range. If it doesn't do one of those two things, well, it's most likely just going to drop to the 74 to 7600 range. So other than that, guys, have a great day, and thank you very much always for watching these videos. I would appreciate an upvote on Steemit where you guys can show your small support there. Have a great day, and thank you for watching. Bye now.